Hey guys, Kiel here and you're watching Gamer. Welcome. Now, I'm gonna discuss another rumor, but more rumors have come out that I kind of don't like. Now, I'm gonna discuss it first. Apparently, sources have mentioned that Nintendo is hardware manufacturing partners like Foxconn and what was the other? Bigetron are gonna make parts for the NX consoles this October. They will start making parts this October, ramp up the parts, and then put the parts together somewhere like July 2016, like mass production, and then the NX console will be, of course, a finished console, and it will become to consumers. That's the big rumor that Foxconn employees have told us, or some insiders, that Foxconn is gonna start making parts this October, ramp it up till mid 2016. So in somewhere mid 2016 Nintendo could sell their NX consoles to consumers. That's the big rumor. Now, I personally don't like this, and I will explain why. First off, if you look at the history of Nintendo, a very successful console had a lifespan of 6 years. Not including the Japanese market and the Famicons, like Western market cons, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, what me as a European or a North American person has of a life cycle of Nintendo. So yeah, successful consoles had 6 years, less successful consoles only had 5 years. That's been the entire history of Nintendo home consoles. That's how it always has been. Now, if this rumor is true, and the NX will launch like mid 2016, then the Wii U will have the shortest lifespan of a Nintendo console ever. I'm not thinking about Virtual Boy. That wasn't a console, that was just a pet prototype project they gave out, like real home consoles. Now, the Wii U was launched in Europe and North America on the 30th of November of 2012. So if you count 4 years further, you will get 30 November 2016. But it doesn't even get that. They were saying July, June, August maybe 2016, rumor of the NX release. That's only 3.5 years that the Wii U would be out. And that personally bothers me. Because yes, the Wii U is struggling. But that's because it needs more games. The games that come out are good, but they just need more games. And of course, Nintendo needs to fix their third-party support. That's an issue. Yes, the Wii U is struggling, but at least keep it alive and viable for 5 years like you did with the GameCube or the N64 or even the Super Nintendo. You know, GameCube had a struggle, but it was an amazing machine in my point of view, but it had its 5 years life cycle. The Wii was an immense commercial financial success, so it had a lifespan of 6 years. But now the Wii U only gets, 3.5 years? For me, that's not sufficient. I invest money in the Wii U. As you can see, this is a basic model, like the first, Now you can only buy the premium black ones at most stores. The white ones are all gone. So yeah, I'm an early adopter of the Nintendo Wii U. Because I'm a Nintendo fanboy. And I want a lifespan of 5 years for the Wii U and a lot of first party and also, if possible, third party games for my Wii U. The console itself is good, I get it. the Wii U gamepad. It costs a lot of money to manufacture. It's a turn-off to people. Developers don't know what to do with the gamepad. I get it. But like the 10 million users of the Wii U, they have it, so give them their money worth in games and life cycle years. That's all I'm asking as a fanboy and an owner of a Wii U. Anyway, just let us look in history. Yeah, sure, in 1993 in Japan the Famicom hit. We didn't get the Nintendo Entertainment System till 95. And then of course in 90, again in Japan, the Super Famicom hit, but not for us, Western audience. We got in 91 the Super Nintendo, which means a 6-year life cycle for the Nintendo Entertainment System. As you can see, this is a very old one, wear and tear. For some reason, when I was younger, I wanted to put stickers on them. This is the Nintendo I still play today. It's not shiny anymore. You know, it got the yellowing and all, but still, it's the one I still use monthly. The Nintendo. An amazing system that I was introduced to like in 1998. No, 1989, I'm sorry. In 1989, when I was 3 years old, when I could barely walk, bam! There was a Nintendo Entertainment System in my house. I had an older brother, so it made sense. Loved the machine. You know, still have one today now. Then from 91 till 96, you had the Super Nintendo. Also a very amazing machine. That only, of course, had a life cycle of 5 years instead of 6. It still was the clear winner of that generation. But yeah, the Sega Mega Drive or Sega Genesis was really hot on its heels. So and then of course they were like, well, we need a new system out because Sony's gonna bring out the PlayStation. A whole other stuff about Nintendo, Sony, you know, trying to join forces. Didn't happen. Sony made their development and made the PlayStation on their own. Nintendo went back to cartridge basis. A whole other story. Anyway, in 96, the Nintendo 64 happened. And for that generation, the 5th generation, the Nintendo 64 was my personal favorite console of the 5th generation. It just was. This is still my original Nintendo 64. Yes, it has a third-party Rumble RAM pack instead of the original one. A whole story about that. Anyway, I still have it. It may be a first-person shooter gamer on consoles. This machine, I love it to death. The N64 was great. Also only had a 5-year cycle from 96 to 2001, and in 2001 we got the GameCube. Also an amazing little machine, but also underperformed. Like at the 6th generation we had, of course, a Sony PlayStation 2 who was a juggernaut. Then of course Microsoft entered the ring with Xbox. Sega had the Dreamcast, but that was killed off. Not only, like, it wasn't even out for 2 years, I think, when it was killed off. That's also a tragic death for a console. Didn't get it to see its full potential in life cycle years. Another story again. And then of course the Nintendo GameCube. Still, I thought this was an amazing machine. Like, my brother bought a PlayStation 2 and in the launch week, and when I saw the games on that, I was like, yeah, they're much prettier than on PlayStation 1 and Nintendo 64, but they didn't like really wow me yet. When I popped in Rogue Squadron on my Nintendo GameCube when it launched, I was like, bam, this is next gen graphics. It was like such a beautiful game. It blew my mind. This little machine did it. Only, like I said, 5 years in the market. From 2001 till 2006, and then we had the Wii U, which was a juggernaut of the 7th generation. It outsold everyone in the console market, beating Sony and Microsoft. A lot of people have issues with the Wii, me as well. The motion controls, everyone in the beginning was like, yeah, motion controls, and I was like, nope, not for me. But again, it was the first console I had in the 7th generation. You know, had a 6-year lifespan. And then, of course, in 2012, we got the Wii U. Now, the biggest problem with the Wii U is, as you can see them next to each other, consumer confusion. Like, I know gamers that I still had to explain that the gamepad wasn't an add-on for the Wii, but actually a controller for a whole new console. That's what the people thought. Like, everyone thought the gamepad was an add-on to your Wii, and it wasn't. That's a big problem for Nintendo, that they had to shake off for that perception of the consumer base. They had to shake off, and it took them too much time, and they never really got succeeded. And then, of course, the design is similar. The name, they just added U on the back. That weird. I don't like the name, but hey, the console itself is great. So yeah, now they're like, Wii U is underperforming. Let's go get us some new console like the NX. The biggest issue I have with that is, remember Sega? Every time a Sega console was struggling, they killed it off and brought out something new. Don't do that, The people who invested money in that console want that full experience of that console, and you're like, well, it's not performing, cut it off, move on to the next thing. That's kind of screwing over your fan base of your current console, and the people who invested money and time in that machine. I don't want NX yet. Probably when they unveil it, maybe it's gonna be an amazing machine, maybe it's gonna suck. I don't know yet, but I still want my games for my Wii U. One of the biggest issues I have now is, since they delayed The Legend of Zelda for Wii U, now of course the big speculation is, well, The Legend of Zelda normally would have come out in the fall of 2016, but now when NX is already out, are they gonna pull a fast one again, like with Twilight Princess? As you can see, I didn't like that decision when they did it with the Wii U. I didn't have a Wii U at launch. I refused to buy it because I was like, what the fuck are motion controls? I was not on board. Everyone else was back then, but I was not. So I bought Twilight Princess for my GameCube, because the GameCube was an amazing machine with an amazing controller. So yeah, I was like, I got into Zelda on the Nintendo 64 era. So on N64 we got, of course, Ocarina of Time and then Majora's Mask. 2 Zeldas for one console. I was like, yep, I'm on board. Then for the GameCube, we had, of course, Wind Waker. And a small sub-game with the 4 Swords GameCube game you can link up with your GBA and all stuff. Anyway, I didn't really count that as a full game, didn't really was into it that much. Anyway, yeah, it's a Zelda game. And then they were like, we're gonna bring you the latest new Zelda. They announced it for the GameCube, that turned out to be Twilight Princess. And then it kind of went dark. And then they were like, well, we're not bringing out Twilight Princess yet. It's ready, but we're gonna port it to the Wii, so you have to wait. And I was like, what? I wanted my Twilight Princess on my GameCube. I have it. So I was like, buh. So yeah, 2 Zeldas on the 64. 3, actually, 2 proper Zeldas on the GameCube. And then, of course, because Twilight Princess was on the Wii and the GameCube, we had to wait till Skyward Sword, so you could count 1.5 Zelda for the Wii. Skyward Sword was a real Zelda just for Wii. Twilight Princess was for both. I counted as a GameCube game. Anyway, Then you had the Wii U, and they of course ported Wind Waker and like redid it in HD for the Wii U. Wind Waker's an amazing game. Have it on GameCube. Also have it on my Wii U. But now like if they're like gonna do a fast one again, like Twilight Princess go like Zelda Wii U is also coming to NX or not even coming to NX at all. That's gonna suck for Zelda fans. Like a lot of people already invested money in their Wii U probably for Zelda. I know a lot of gamers who are like awesome Zelda fans, and that's the only reason they like buy Nintendo consoles. So yeah, I think it's, if all these rumors are true and the NX is coming out mid 2016, it kind of bugs me, I want more investment from Nintendo in the Wii U. Yeah, it only sold 10 million copies, but you got 10 million people who put trust in this machine. Don't let them down. It just bugs me, these rumors, Anyway, it can probably not all be true. You all have to take it with a grain of salt, but still. A lot of stuff is going on that we'll never know at the Nintendo headquarters, like when a game gets delayed to make a better game. I'm all for that. But like first they were like, well, Zelda's coming, and now they're like, well, we need more time. I'm happy to give them more time to make an awesome Zelda experience. But then you kind of hear all the rumors and the backstories and like people who had like inside knowledge, like, well, Zelda's never coming to Wii U, is immediately going to NX. All that stuff, and like, of course now with the backlash of E3 and the Nintendo Direct, it was like weak Nintendo Direct for this E3, and a lot of Nintendo fanboys were disappointed. I'm like, yeah, maybe they were like, because Star Fox didn't really look that amazing. The theory now is they rushed Star Fox in production to make Star Fox the swan song for the Wii U. And then of course we'll have some mid and smaller games coming out like from January till July, and then the Wii U is dead and gone, and NX will be the next thing. If that's the case, yeah, it bugs me. That's all I can say. It bugs me. I don't want them to kill off the Wii U yet. Give it its proper Zelda. Give it some other original titles proper for this machine. And yeah, that's all I can say about that. Did Nintendo make crappy decisions on the Wii U? They kinda. But like, you have to remember, Nintendo is always known to innovate stuff in gaming. Yeah, they stick with cartridges on this, but they had the idea for like discs-based games, but they poorly executed it, and that led into the creation of PlayStation. And because of that backlash, like to get the CDs going, and then Sony and all that stuff, they came out with miniature discs. We were of course like, what? Like PlayStation 2 and Xbox had DVD support. This one did not, because of the miniature disc. The miniature discs could again only store like over a gig of game data on it. Like, the cartridges had the biggest problem. They couldn't store big games, and then they brought out disc, but like the mini DVD, and they had again the same problem. If you look at the multiplat games, that game that came out to PlayStation 2, the original Xbox, and then like the GameCube, and you hook them up with the best cables you can possibly get for them. So my Xbox has component cables, my PlayStation 2 also, and because I'm in Europe and I have a PAL Nintendo GameCube, I have RGB SCART for my GameCube, which is the best possible output I can get out of it. If you compare then a multiplat, they will look best on Xbox, then on PlayStation 2, then on Nintendo GameCube, because they had to cram in a lot of data in those small discs, so they had to like remove certain textures and resolution just to make the game fit on those small discs. That again was like, yeah, they innovate with motion controls. Everyone was like, yeah, motion controls, and I was like, nope, not for me. I guess I was right in the end. But hey, the Wii sold a whole lot of stuff. A whole lot of units. It dominated the 7th generation consoles, you know. It was the juggernaut of that generation. It was like a win for Nintendo. And then someone at Nintendo was like, hey, tablets are hot now. For our next console, we'll get a tablet controller, the gamepad. And that was like, kinda no. Again, to me as a gamer, I was like, again, no. Like on the Wii motion controller, I was like, that doesn't make sense for me. Then with the gamepad on the Wii U again, I was like, why just put a normal controller with it? If they've launched the Wii U with like the gamepad, I was like, well, that's a bundle, but it's optional, and they also would have launched the Wii U with a Pro controller. That would have made more sense, because not a lot of game developers or even Nintendo themselves use the gamepad to the full potential. They were like, what do we do with this thing, and the second screen and all of that? Like, I had to look this up on the internet. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but like people who had their gamepad broke, like it fell and it broke, and they had to like order a new one at Nintendo by shifting their own will back, like, you know, it's damaged, can you fix it? No, it's too hard damage, we'll send you a new one. And then that new gamepad will cost you $150. So I'm thinking, like, with shipping and all, you know, what if the gamepad to manufacture costs over $100? Like $140 or something for Nintendo. Yeah, they can't drop the price on the Wii U because the gamepad is so expensive. So if they would have lost the gamepad and put in a Pro controller, it was only like $50 in store, so it would probably cost them, I don't know, $25 to make or something. They could have cut the Wii U's price with over $100, but they never did. That maybe got consumers in. Like, yeah, the gamepad is cool, but it's optional. Like, here's just the machine with the controller and awesome games. They of course never did that. I don't know why, I don't know what's happening behind the screens, but hey, it's Nintendo, they have their own mindset and way of doing things. But yeah, man, this NX rumor, who knows what the future will bring, right? But still, like I said, if it's all true and it's all happening, shortest life cycle ever for a Nintendo console, and that bugs me. Hey, we'll see, and we'll see what the future will bring, and then we'll just have to consume it how it goes. Anyway, what do you think about this rumor? What do you think about everything revolving in Nintendo? Hey, leave me in the comments below. I'm Kjell, for Gamer, and all I can say is enjoy and keep playing.